I meet a lot of entrepreneurs and they have an awesome business idea. But what I tell people is that they need to make sure that there's a market for their idea. Now, I'll get into that in this episode.
Keep the main thing, the main thing.
A lot of times when you have a great idea, there might not be a market for that. And by market, I mean there's somebody willing to pay for whatever you're cooking in the lab. So you have to keep that in mind, because so many times people could have the best ideas in the world. It could make a lot of sense to them, but there's just no buyers for that. You can take any industry. Like I made my living in the cybersecurity industry. Sometimes there's pretty cool solutions, but at the end of the day, in many cases, there's not a budget for a company or even a consumer to buy that product. So that's what you have to consider. In many cases, what the best business to start is finding out what people are already paying for and then building a product in that market. There's a really good book called Crossing the Chasm that I highly recommend entrepreneurs read. It talks about this. Basically, there needs to be budget, because like say if I'm in cybersecurity, if I'm a chief information security officer, I have to buy certain things. I'm probably going to have to buy some kind of monitoring service or product. I'm probably going to have to buy a firewall. I'm probably going to have to buy antivirus, things of that nature. So by the time I get down to the fifth place item, I might be considering buying something that's not on that list. And then, so what you have to do there is you have to figure out, as an entrepreneur, you're going to have to figure out how do you compete for that fifth place dollars, is what one of my friends calls it. Now, one of the things you could do is you could try to figure out what everybody uses and build that product. And that could be going higher up and competing against the big dogs by being more agile or something like that. Now, this happens all the time. One of the really good use cases is I'm pretty good friends with Doug Song, who created Dual Security. He told me him and John Oberheide, his co-founder, they looked at like 20 different ideas before they settled on building Dual Security, which kind of displaced RSA tokens back in the day. Now, RSA is a big company, but they started a company, was small and agile, and they dominated that space, and they ended up selling their company for $2.3 billion. This is super important. Again, they could have built anything in the world. They built something that everybody spent money on, and that was those tokens. Everybody had those RSA tokens for remote access, and so they built that. They knew everybody had a budget for it. That's what they built. So don't be too creative. What you want to do is you want to find something like that where everybody's spending money on it, but I'm going to make it a little bit better. Now, what they did is they replaced the hardware token with a soft token, essentially on your phone, and that's what made them win big. So if you're trying to start a company, don't be too creative. You want to go where there's a market at, and essentially, I kind of compare it to, if you look at like a flea market, for example, you could, if you had a product to sell at a flea market, you could literally sell that product anywhere in the city as long as you were allowed to sell it. You can sell it on any corner. But what you do with a market, you go to the flea market because that's where people are buying it. You don't want to create a product that there's no buyers for, and you have to kind of like educate the market for, and things of that nature. So don't be too creative. Check out the book Crossing the Chasm. That book talks about this a lot, and it's one of my favorite books related going and building something for a market. Because if you try to build a new product or new market, that's probably going to end up bad for you. Thank you for watching. And again, don't be too creative. Find out how you can make incremental improvements on something, and you're going to probably end up winning because there's already a budget. There's people ready to spend for something better. So build something better. Don't build something totally brand new. Don't be too creative.
I'm looking in the mirror, what do I see? I see the only person alive that could stop me. I'ma push it to the limit with it, everything I got. I'm a rocket ship in motion, I'm headed to the top.